Hi guys and girls, and welcome back to a new video on the World's Ultimate Strongman recap. So just to get started quickly, Hathor actually didn't compete in this event. He decided to take a year off this year, saying he needs a rest and he's going to come back next year for the Arnolds. Also, you had Eddie Hall there, 2017's World's Strongest Man, also the ultimate deadlifter in the world with the 500 kilo record. He was commentating. Martin Lissis, as you can see here, he's the current World's Strongest Man, the American chap. He was there just in attendance out of interest. And lastly, this legend here, Mr. Safakis, 4 times World's Strongest Man. He very kindly volunteered as a judge to help in between the events, so thanks a lot, it's good to see you do that. So starting off, we have the World's Ultimate Deadlift event. This was the first day, which was Thursday, and just showing here Terry Hollands, obviously the English powerlifter, strongman and bodybuilder. He sadly didn't continue on with the deadlifts after this successful lift or the following day, as I believe he was injured and he didn't want to continue any further, which is a real shame. But as we know, he has had a whirlwind transformation of weight this year, for going from bodybuilding back to powerlifting and strongman. And, you know, he's a bit older and he needs to start listening to his body. So it's a real shame, but it is what it is, and he played it smart. So all the other athletes did hit the 400 kilo benchmark, which was really good to see. It's nice to see some people actually hitting bigger numbers than they have done in the past, because, you know, not all these guys are really good at deadlifting. Some are much better than others mechanically in terms of their body type, and some just prefer it overall to other types of lifting and strongman events. So Brian Shaw, he did get this 400 kilo lift, which is coming up shortly, but sadly he didn't actually hit the other lifts, so he actually tied last in this event, which was a real shame and quite surprising. Eddie Hall did mention that he was shocked to see that he didn't do that, based on his prep mentally and physically for this competition. But, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen at these events. Sometimes pressure, sometimes stress, sometimes factors such as the environment. So, you know, the humidity, the heat and the time difference can play havoc on some of the athletes. And obviously the guys coming from the States, I don't think they prepared themselves for it. Luke and Tom Stoltman, the Scottish brothers, which I'll go on to later, they actually you know, went to Dubai a month ahead of this event to really acclimatise to it and prepare themselves. So obviously they wouldn't be affected as much with the humidity, the heat and the time difference, and obviously got used to the water and food intake, because, you know, a big thing about travelling is it really takes it out of you, especially, you know, the flying aspect, because it really dehydrates you and can really change you. You're out of your routine essentially. You know, you're not sleeping normally, you're not eating what you normally would, and that can have a massive impact on how you perform in a sporting environment. So, you know, I think that may have played a part with Brian and some of the other athletes. Also, like I said, some of them aren't as good at deadlifting and they need to work on that big time to really help them get more points. But obviously this event didn't really equate to the following day. So after the first rounds at 400, the athletes who wanted to continue on, who still had more in the tank, went for 420. So here you see Kieliszkowski gets it. A couple of athletes also get the 420. Rauno Heinla does. JF Karen does, as you can see. Brian Shaw tries, but he fails. The Russian, he gets it. As always, quite a consistent athlete. Tom Stoltman, also from Scotland, hits the 420. Now, Tom, like Kieliszkowski, is only 25. He's Luke's younger brother, and he's obviously doing some amazing things at the moment. And I'm really excited to see how much further he goes on in his career in the next couple of years, because at the rate he's going, his size, his conditioning and strength is just unbelievable. And for such a young age, and to be so close to Kieliszkowski with a lot of the events, he has real good promise and a real good future. After the 420 lift, we had a few guys go for the 430. Which you'll see come up shortly. Here's Tom obviously hitting 420, as you see, nice and fast. Looked like a speed rep, to be honest. Very easy for him. Did not look difficult at all. Kieliszkowski, unfortunately, doesn't hit the 430, but he's not known for his deadlift. He's strong, but his deadlift isn't his best point. Tom does hit it, as you can see. This one obviously is a bit more of a struggle. And at this point, he decides to give it a break, no more after that. So he's happy with that. I'd be happy as well. 430 is a really good lift. So well done to you, mate. It's very impressive, and you know, you've got a lot of potential there moving forward for heavier deads in the future. So that obviously paid off for him, I believe, the conditioning prior, a month ahead, to get him ready for this event. Then we went, as you can see, Rauno, he gets 430 very easily done, and he then goes on to pretty much last man standing. So again, the Russian here, he does hit the 440. At this point, this is his last set. You can tell that he's reached full fatigue and he's not going to go any further. So that's him done. Pritchett, also consistent deadlifter. You've seen him in other events, particularly Giants live in the year. He hit the heaviest deadlift in that event. He obviously gets second best here to Rauno. And Rauno now, this is his last lift, hits 450. Now he says this is his best, his personal best. He's done it before. And speaking of Eddie after, he said, you know, he's chasing that 500. So well done, Rauno, and looking forward to seeing how you get on in the future with your 500 kilo attempts. So this is how it went down for day 2, obviously the individual events. We had the 30-meter vehicle truck pull, which was 23 tons. Now there was a little bit of a criticism from the athletes saying that it hadn't been prepared very well. The road surface wasn't too great, and they just felt like it was a bit sloppy how it was put together, and wasn't the best settings and setup for them. But nonetheless, we still saw some really good feats of strength, and a lot of athletes did complete the full 30 meters. Obviously, some have got much better technique than others. You know, like looking here at Tom, he's keeping it nice and tight. He's very central, and he's not all over the place, because obviously that does tend to happen with core stability in these athletes. You know, they move around a lot, but they want to keep those little steps, as you can see, the little foot moving nice and slowly in a uniform fashion, and keep themselves rigid and looking down rather than all over the place, because obviously they just lose power and waste a lot of energy. So it was really cool to see this. I've never seen an event like this in person, so I'm hoping to see it at the next one. But I'm just showing you the full video for Kieliszkowski, because he actually did this in the fastest time. So and he also won this event, not surprisingly. So it was really impressive how he did, to be honest. He is known for being very good at pulling things. He has tremendous leg power and very good core stability. He was a little bit, as you can see, a little bit, how can we say it, a little bit all over the place, but he did find his pattern, he did find his groove, and you know, he still pushed through much faster and finished with a much better time than any other athlete on this event, obviously then securing the full points for this event. I think that perhaps he did have issues with the flooring, like other people complained about. There was also another issue with Brian Shaw. He complained that there was water on the floor from when another athlete prior was so hot he drenched himself in water to cool down, but then that was going to inhibit him because he could have slipped on it. So obviously the people who work there desperately were trying to dry it with towels and such, but it's because obviously they don't really think about these things that far ahead. Athletes are trying to think of the best conditions that they can have to have the least negative impact on their performance. So rightfully so that Brian asked for that, and it's a shame that they were a little bit amateur in that sense, not thinking ahead like that, the event organisers. But you know, people get caught up in the swing of things, and that's what happens. So the second event was the head-to-head log press for reps. Now the log press was set at 180 kilos. Every athlete who did do this, apart from I think it was Ramin, who hurt his bicep during, did actually manage to do this event. I thought it was a little bit unfair for Pritchett because Terry Holland pulled out, and also Haffel wasn't competing. He had to come out first on his own, so he had no one to compete against, which is not a great thing when you need that buzz from the other athletes, see how they're doing to push you to go further, and also just to something to go from. Like, he was the first one to set the score, so I felt it was a little bit unfair for him, but that's how it was. He got drawn that straw. But obviously I've shown you this one here with Iron Bibby. Now, and obviously again the Russian, I would say his name but I can't pronounce it, hence why I keep saying the Russian. So Iron Bibi is really known for his shoulder strength. I've met him before, met him earlier this year at the Body Expo in Birmingham. As picture coming of us soon, he's massive, like he's an absolute unit. His shoulders and arms are huge. And he's got really good shoulder strength, like Eddie Hall, and he actually won this event, which I thought he probably would, to be honest. So he actually got 5 reps in the end, which was amazing. So well done to you, bro. You did really good, and looking forward to seeing you set new records and trying new ones with the shoulder press in the future. So moving on to the third event, it was the 15-meter yoke run, which was 300 kilos, and then followed with a 15-meter shield carry. So it was the World's Ultimate Strongman Shield. I'm not quite sure how heavy it is. I haven't been able to find the information, but it looks pretty heavy. As you can see, it doesn't look like an easy thing for them to carry. So this one obviously is where I'm showing Kieliszkowski and Iron Bibi, and the reason why I've shown this one opposed to the other guys is because Kieliszkowski actually tears his bicep during this event, which later goes on to really hold him back in the last event, which we've now moved on to, which is the Atlas stones. So here you've got Novikov and Tom Stoltman. Tom is very confident with stones, and he said, "I'm going to win this. I know I'm going to win this. I've got this." He's very overconfident, but at the end of the day, the guy set a world record for this event. So there are 10 stones, which the Worlds Ultimate Strongman claims is the longest in strongman history, and they start from 100 kilos going up to 200 kilos. And Tom actually did it in around 50 seconds. So it was the fastest time of the day. Absolutely amazing. He looks like he's still got more energy in the tank after. I mean, he's doing it topless. He's doing it raw. This guy clearly has practiced this event many times, and it's definitely a clear strength of his, which gained him valuable points at this stage to help him get his later placing. Now I'm going to show you Luke Stoltman. So this is his older brother, and he was going up against Kieliszkowski. Now Kieliszkowski was he was taped up because obviously his bicep was injured at this point from the last event we just saw, and he needs to play it carefully. He needed the points, so he had, and amazingly he still did do up to the 9th stone, despite obviously having this injury from the previous event. And it's a real shame this happened, because obviously who knows how he would have done if he'd felt fresh and hadn't hurt himself. And sorry, just to add, it was actually he got up to the 8th stone, not the 9th stone. So the fact, as you can see, that he's completely, he's debilitated essentially. He's playing it very cautiously to lift these stones up with this new injury. In the other event, he was shaking it off and not really acting up, but you could tell that he was hurt, and he wasn't going to be going into the last event at 100%, which is not ideal. I mean, when you're lifting Atlas stones, you need to be at full capacity and potential of yourself. Any little niggle or owie is going to really hurt you and really slow you down, and as you can see, it did. Luke, obviously, he does do all stones. Does take him quite some time. This event actually did have a 3-minute period, so they had 3 minutes in order to do the stones, and some athletes did take their time to get all of them or try to get as many as they could. Novikov tried in the event with Tom to do some more, but he gave up in the end, I think at the 9th stone. But what's nice to see here is that Tom comes in and really eggs on his brother, really pushes Luke to get that final stone. And obviously he's not under any pressure at this point. He knows he's got good points, Luke, as is Kieliszkowski, but he wants to prove that he can get all 10 stones. And Tom comes in, as you can see now, and he gets him going. He's a good brother. Obviously they are against each other in terms of being athletes entering a competition. Of course they both want to get the best position possible for themselves, but he's also his brother, and he wants to support his brother and not be rival to him and put him down. And it's something I saw from the whole day, really, from each event. All athletes were so supportive of one another. There was no real rivalry and hate towards one another. They were just, yep, go on guys, you can do this, let's push each other and let's move forward, which is what I really like about this sport. It's quite obviously a small group of people that are in it. Obviously you don't get many big strong guys like this in the world, so I feel it makes it more of a family affair when you see all these types of events, and hence why there seems to be no hate towards one another on social media or just in person. It seems very genuine, like the love for one another and the sport. So I really rate this about it and about each one. And you know, well done to Kieliszkowski. He obviously still gets the 8th stone despite being injured. And overall, from 2 days, from all the athletes, you all did fantastic to do the stuff you did. The 4 events you did on this day were very, very how can we say, Hercules level in terms of strength and how can I say, draining of your energy force. And the deadlifts the day prior, where you all smashed it, all of you did over 400 kilos. So the bodies took a pounding, and you definitely deserved to where you all got. So just a quick correction, it was actually 40.7 seconds that Tom set for the Atlas stones. So obviously now we're on the final stage of the video. So first place, unsurprisingly, as I said in my previous video about Kieliszkowski predictions, he won. So he actually cleared the leaderboard with 5 points above the second place winner, which was, or runner-up, should say, was Luke Stoltman at 50.5, and third place was Tom Stoltman at 47.5. Brian Shaw actually managed to get a pretty impressive 4th place finish with 44.5 points, which was just ahead of Rauno Heinla, the Estonian who, as I mentioned before, who got the best deadlift on the previous day at 450. So, you know, it was no, I'll be honest, despite the injury with Kieliszkowski, he still won, and it's what I predicted. The guy just keeps winning everything, it seems, this year, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. He took the $75,000 prize, which I'm sure is going to help him significantly in terms of his training, his supplements, his food, and everything else he needs to get himself ready for events next year, such as Arnold, Giants, and World's Strongest Man again. So well done to the Stoltman brothers. You're definitely showing that you two are on the scene, and you're forces to be reckoned with, and you're not to be taken as non-competitors. You guys have got the edge, and you've got all the potential to go on and win more events. So good luck to you guys moving forward into the new year. And until next time, guys, Amigo One Fitness signing out.